Hi, my loves. My name is Jennifer. And so I was thinking, right? I'm always thinking. And your thoughts hold a lot of power, right? Your mind is a powerful tool. It's a powerful thing. And it can go both ways. Your thoughts can consume you to the point where you just feel so defeated that you can't see a way out in the moment, or can encourage you and just push you to keep pressing forward. And my experience, as many of you who have been watching my videos can tell, it's like a back and forth. It's like I'm battling and learning, but I believe it's because I'm a work in progress, as we all are, and I'm just choosing to put myself out there, And last night I was having a conversation. I was watching this movie. What was it? It was The Unforgivable, I believe it was, with Sandra Bullock. And there's this part where she had a coat on. Oh, what was that? I'm not sure what that was. She had a coat on that reminded me of when I was a little girl, and how my mom had gotten me a coat, and it was a coat that I had always wanted, but she couldn't afford it at the time. Or maybe she could, but there were like other bills and stuff like that were more important. So she only got me what she could. She got my sister and I what she could. And I remember growing up and always feeling like, man, there's people that are wearing Timbs and I'm wearing FUBU boots. People wearing Air Forces and I was wearing Reeboks. Or Adidas, because that was what we could afford. The other type of brands were a little bit expensive. And I'm grateful because it made me appreciate the things, like growing up, it made me appreciate the things that I had, as opposed to feeling like these things made me. You get what I'm saying? I'm discussing a few different things that are like coming to me right now. But one thing that watching that movie and seeing that coat and then having all these different things like come to mind, I was then telling him, like, it's so crazy that a lot of the things that I'm experiencing now as an adult has a lot to do with my childhood. The way I think, the way I behave, the way the way my emotions, like how things affect me emotionally, has a lot to do with my upbringing, has a lot to do with the things that I experienced as a child, trauma, just different things, and trauma can look differently for everybody, right? Trauma is not just in one area. Like, I can say I experienced childhood trauma while I was, when I was bullied in school, in elementary, and even like in middle school, and how those things then affected me and turned me into the person that I became as an adult, and how those things then stayed with me. And now I'm 36 years old, trying to unpack those things in order for me to learn and grow and see things from a different perspective, so that those things don't affect me the way they have for so many years. And then there's another area with, though I was raised and grew up in a 2-parent household, but there was a lot of things that I witnessed as a child that affected me. And I can see how that played out in my life, growing up, and then in relationships. And then, so to my point, when I was talking to my husband last night, and I had mentioned to him, I think, was it last night? I don't know. We'd be having like the only conversations all the time. And I was telling him how, so my sister and I, we're like this. She's my best friend, and we're a year and 9 months apart. And then my nieces remind us of us. But then when they are like going at it, because they're twins, they have those moments or just siblings, you know, because me and my sister weren't always like this. We always, you know, I'm sure we had fights and arguments and stuff like that. Not physical, because that's never happened between her and I. But where we always try to encourage them, like, listen, this is an example for you to follow. You know, we're as close as we are, and we communicate, and you know, we may not always agree with certain things, but we communicate, and we just set that example for them, right? But one day we took the kids to go roller skating, and something happened, and one of my nieces came at me a certain way, like disrespectful, but you know, just as a you know, young, you know, preteen attitude and stuff like that. And my sister checked her, but when my sister checked her, she kind of still like had like a little attitude. So when they got out of the car, because it was both of my nieces and my son, my oldest, and my little one too, actually. And when they got out of the car, when I saw my niece get close to my other niece, and they were walking towards the building, it triggered something in me. When I saw them both, you know, together, which is something that my sister and I always tell them to do, like, you know, always have each other's back. You know, always have each other's back. And here she was telling her sister, you know, I'm sure that's what she told her. Like, she was telling her how she felt. And maybe my other niece was checking in on her, making sure, like, are you good? Like, you know what I mean? But when I saw that, I didn't see that. I saw, this is crazy. I saw me. So not that I saw me. I was the little girl in elementary school. And let me tell you, I get emotional. And maybe, you know, maybe I'll be ridiculed or criticized for, like, being such an open book and even putting my emotions out there. But this is reality. You know what I mean? And I think that so many people go on with life this way because they don't have that space or that opportunity to be real with other people, let alone with themselves. And it's like, it's tears and I'm emotional, but it's like, I know that in order for me to experience a breakthrough, I have to allow myself to feel what needs to be felt, because this is not too hard for God. This doesn't make God feel like he's not disappointed in me for feeling the way that I do, because he cares. You know, he cares that whatever I'm concerned with, he's concerned with. And so I'm just, you know, I'm putting this out there because I'm sure I'm not the only one. Whether it's the same, whether you can relate to, you know, what I'm referring to right now or in other areas, which I feel like that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, you know, share videos like this that hopefully can encourage someone that may be going through it or have gone through it, or may not even be aware of, you know, how their childhood or the things that they've experienced has affected them to the point where now they see how their life has unfolded, and why, you know, it's so important that you are able to look back and reflect and unpack these things so that you can just have an understanding of things that maybe you didn't understand. You know what I mean? So when I saw both of my nieces, it brought me back. Literally, it brought me back. In my mind, I saw my younger self in the playground in school, standing next to my to the lunch aid, while all the other girls played together, because one of them told them, don't talk to Jennifer, I don't like her. And none of them had a problem with me. When that one girl, and it's crazy because then I remember her following me on Facebook, and I was like, how dare she? Did she not know what she did to me? It's crazy how you can have a bully and it affects you, and it's crazy. So, you know, I whenever that girl didn't go to school, all of the other girls, they were my friend, you know, and they talked to me. But as soon as the girl would come back to school, which was, you know, she wasn't absent all the time, so she was there, she was present more than she was absent. So it was a battle every day going to school, knowing or not knowing if the girls would not talk to me anymore because they're being told by this one person that they can't, or they can't be my friend. And then, because I also take this to therapy and stuff like that, and I can see how all of that with other things that I've experienced in my childhood have gotten me to the point where I struggle, where I find myself being such a people pleaser. I'm very impulsive. I overthink. I overshare. Clearly this. Look what I'm doing. But I'm not gonna be ashamed, because I'm sure I'm not the only one, and I'm sure that even if I look back on this and say, man, he should have never said none of this, it's still an opportunity for me to grow and learn. But I believe that there's so much that has happened in my childhood that has affected me to the point where now as an adult I'm learning to unlearn and learn new things. So I'm unlearning to relearn. You get me? And it's rough. It's rough. But yeah, man. That's all I wanted to share. Oh, and then in the oversharing, I always feel the need to have to explain, because in my mind, although I say, I just like details, I believe that if I've felt for so long that if I don't explain, like sometimes a person will say something to me or ask me a question, I can just simply say no. I will say, no, but it's because of this, and I'll explain why, when really they probably wouldn't have cared what the reason was, but I said no, and that's all they cared about. That was enough. And I'm not like that. I'm learning not to be that way, but I struggle because I'm worried about what people would think of me. I'm worried about, what they would feel towards me if they feel that I disappointed them, or, I don't know. But listen, y'all, I'm 36 years old, and I was actually talking to my mom the other day also, and I was like, Mom, when you were 36, I was 13, and I'm 36, and now my son is 13, and I'm here trying to figure my life out, right? I'm going through so many different things, and I feel like, man, I'm 36 years old. I should have gotten my mind together by now. I shouldn't be experiencing these things. Why, or whatever. And I'm like, I can just imagine what it must have been like for you. And then not having people to, kind of support you or be there for you to help you. You get what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like there's so many people, like I look at the generations before me and see how stuck they are, because they think that that's just who they have to be, because that's just who they are. But it's not. They're not who they are because that's just them. It's things that they've picked up along the way. It's things that they were taught. It's things that they've witnessed. It's things like that they've experienced that has caused them to behave in ways that had they not experienced it, they wouldn't have. You get what I'm saying? But I continue. I was just telling a friend of mine this morning, I'm like, man, I cling on to Jesus. I cling on to him because he is my hope. He is my strength. So no matter what no matter what I'm confronted with, I know that in him, I'm good. I'm good. I just gotta trust that, I'm leaning on him. I'm leaning on him. That when I'm weak, his strength is made perfect in me. And I know that I'll overcome. We're overcomers, man. No matter what we may think or feel in the moment, we're overcomers. The fact that we're still breathing today, no matter what we've experienced in the past, no matter where you're finding yourself in at this moment, just as myself, like, you would think I've been in therapy for a year and a half. You would think that by now, but it's like a battle. It's like, it comes in waves. I've experienced a lot. Still learning to navigate through all the things that I've experienced, and things that maybe subconsciously, is that the word, that I'm not fully aware of or understanding. And then in receiving that guidance, spiritually, also practically, and applying these tools that I've been given and the things that I've been taught, I know that I'll overcome, because I have, and I'll continue to overcome in Jesus' name. So it's okay. We're going to be all right. All right, guys. I love you. Bye.